Forbes says that Superman from James Gunn will fail. What's up, everybody? MrNova here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Today, we're going to break down what's going on with Forbes just releasing an article, and it's a big article pretty much explaining their side on why the James Gunn DCU reboot is not gonna be as perfect as most people think. And we're also gonna go over a famous YouTuber that you guys probably watch. I watch myself. His name is the Den of Nerds. He goes live. So you probably know who I'm talking about, Josh from the Den of Nerds. Now, I've been following him for a very long time. Big fan. What's up, Josh? But listen, I'm not hating on Josh, but lately he's been getting on some topics and points that I don't 100% agree with, but I don't disagree with at the same time. So, we're going to break down what a lot of YouTubers are pretty much saying, as well as Forbes coming out with this article pretty much toning down on the James Gunn DCU reboot. This is going to be a very long video, so make sure to grab your Takis, your chips, go light up a nice J, or just stay right, and let's just get straight into the video. The article, and it's gonna be pretty long, so keep that in mind. And we're gonna really break this down, as well as Josh's opinion from the Den of Nerds. Big fan, by the way. I'm not hating here, but it's fun to have a discussion. Keep that in mind. A friendly debate, just like that. So the article from Forbes, pretty much the title says, "New Superman trailer hopes to inspire audiences to look up once more," by Mark Hughes. Alright, so it begins, "You will believe DC Studios can fly if co-CEO James Gunn has anything to say about it. Writer-director Gunn's first new Superman trailer takes flight this Thursday morning, with hopes inspiring audiences to once more look up to the DC iconic superhero." Among fans, Hollywood, and entertainment press, if not yet among the public at large, in Gunn's rebooted Superman. But will it be enough? Well, I have every confidence in Gunn's filmmaking ability and his eye for what makes this character popular and click with a broad mainstream audience. I don't have equal confidence in audiences' appetite for more DC movies after only 2 years since the final DC film in a decade-long failed DCEU. There are advantages and disadvantages on the road to DC's box office redemption, each with potentially having its own impact on Superman's box office future and thus the future of DC Studios. That this Forbes article is going pretty hard on Superman, and it continues by saying the DCEU Superman barely got off the ground. When it started, the Man of Steel movie was meant to launch a new Superman franchise capable of maintaining DC's box office position in the aftermath of Christopher Nolan's massively successful The Dark Knight franchise, which I believe is one of the best Batman movies ever created. Having lifted Batman to $1 billion box office, Nolan and fellow Dark Knight franchise alum David Goyer set their sights on making Man of Steel a similarity grounded in Fox realism approach to DC superheroes, with hopes of delivering equal blockbuster results. Crucially, however, Nolan envisioned this as a standalone series that wouldn't really share a world with a cast of other superheroes. Production wasn't even finished, however, when executives at Warner changed their minds and decided they couldn't pass up the type of money Marvel Studios just minted with 2012's $1.5 billion hit The Avengers. Plans shifted quickly towards using Man of Steel to launch a DC shared cinematic world probably contributing to Nolan's first fading interest in continuing as the grandfather, quote unquote, over a new series. After after Man of Steel, it pretty much went and said 670 million box office run in 2013, 970 million in inflation adjusted to dollars today, but still a couple of hundred million below studio expectations. Warner, who presumed they would skip ahead of laying the foundation straight to 1 billion by writing Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, name dropping accelerated plans to produce a Justice League film. So we all know about the Justice League, and to get Batman into the mix. While Superman lost status as the focus of studio plans and attention, Man of Steel was followed by Batman vs Superman, with Superman getting a second billing in the title and being killed off at the end of a story in which the world turns against him and Batman kicked his butt. Just as he arrived in our minds, the controversial Henry Cavill Superman was just gone. But the story around that was much deeper, more complicated, and longer than the studio's leadership wanted to release. So the filmmaker, Zack Snyder, who taken over a visionary leader of the DCU, was forced to gut much of his film's central motivations for Batman and Superman animosity towards one another, and pretty much removing most of Superman's emotional and heroic arc in the process. The theatrical cut of Batman and Superman suffered as a result, and its 874 million blockbuster box office was still much lower than the studio hoped and expected, a lower than the bottom level outcome, about $900 million or a bit higher. They would have accepted to allow Snyder's plans to proceed mostly unmolested. So having jettisoned the plans for a solo Superman series, they were now jettisoned pretty much another creative vision, build another Superman. Based once more in excess now best thinking, Superman, already pushed aside in the follow-up to the franchise launch, was further ostracized by a studio convinced nobody wanted to see more of Superman. So I won't rehash the whole dirty affairs again. I've covered it in such detail across many articles over the years. You can find the whole body reports easier in the search engine. Suffice to say, Snyder's screenwriter Chris Terito's epic ambition for Superman and Batman and the Justice League built another round of Superman wound up stuck pretty much between competing priorities and studio demands, not to mention conflicting preferences and plans among the creative leadership overseeing the project. So the heartbreaking loss of Zack and Deborah Snyder's daughter, Autumn, in 2015, the resultant rework in the Justice League by Joss Whedon to turn the project into a Batman-centric story, and the film in 2017, $661 million box office disappointment, resulted in yet another rethinking and furthering studios meddling to try to save a DCEU to a same leadership had already failed to affix offers a Sony sinks. Meanwhile, Sony was doing its part to simultaneously turn Spider-Man into a near $2 billion live-action juggernaut and a $1 billion animated franchise earning an Oscar nominee, while also savaging the reputation and qualitative efforts of the genre with struggling and mercifully shelved Sony's Spider-Man universe, or the SSU. Kraven the Hunter abominably $26 million global debut last weekend with a mere $11 million domestic provided a less memorable end to the SSU, as Sony was already promising to stay focused on the primary Spider-Man solo films in a live action and animated form. So, as argued before, while the DCEU did the vast majority of damage to DC's reputation and brand, I suspect Sony's pretty much consistent release of the SSU also ran films in their pretty much restrained failure to deliver on their premises, contributed to audiences growing weary of comic book films overall and hurt genre's reputation overall. Superman's new boss, same as the old boss, the failure and the end of the DCU represented studio's leadership, lack of understanding of their own characters and brands, as well as a lack of understanding for a serious consideration of what their audiences wanted or why they wanted it. So once Warner stopped really understanding what they did or didn't make their films popular, or why it was impossible for them to fix it, so they couldn't properly support the projects that they needed and deserved the help and attention most, nor cut loose projects and excess who were part of the problem in the first place. Now, while Warner Bros. Discovery has a new leadership post-merger who made plenty of controversial and questionable decisions, which I've been openly critical here elsewhere, one choice I agree with and feel was an important step towards really fixing the studio's DC problems was putting James Gunn and Peter Safran in charge and making DC Studios an independent studio. That on top of that, Josh from the Den of Nerds pretty much kind of agrees with this, saying that, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. First of all, I just want to say that in advance, but that James Gunn doesn't have that business aspect of things and that he's not really tapped into things. And honestly, I don't really agree with that. Look, yes, Josh said that James Gunn is very creative, very smart when it comes to these creative projects and endeavors, but apparently it's not good enough. And in my opinion, everyone has their own opinion, I don't think that's right. My opinion is that this new DCU reboot is gonna compete against Marvel. They're going for a very kid-friendly, family-oriented side of things, just like Marvel. If you compare this new vibe for the Superman compared to Man of Steel was kind of more into, I wouldn't say rated R because it's not rated R, but it was definitely on the side of darker themed stuff compared to these new Superman where we're gonna get Crypto, the super dog. Like, come on, this is not gonna be a dark thing like Man of Steel. And I'm not saying that Man of Steel was dark like that, but it did have that kind of dark tone to it in a way, if you know what I mean. Come on, we can all agree that it kind of had that, like, that a teenage adult thing. And this new Superman is gonna be more of a Marvel Disney Plus type of deal, where how Marvel is very family friendly in a way, except for Deadpool. Even families go to see Deadpool. It's just a good movie, even if it's rated R. So I'm pretty sure the beginning for this DCU reboot, it's gonna be pretty amazing. I don't doubt that James Gunn is gonna do a very good thing here. I know there's a lot of high expectations for the DCU reboot and Superman, but let's be honest, I'm pretty sure in a couple months, once the movie comes out, we see more trailers, people are gonna look back and say, wow, we really underestimated James Gunn. And I'm gonna be one of those first YouTubers to say it here. I'm not gonna be bandwagging most of these YouTubers, even if they're bigger than me. I think this new Superman is gonna be better. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I love Henry Cavill. He was a very good Superman. I grew up with that Superman. I was just around 13, 15 years old when that movie came out. That was my Superman, So I see both perspectives, and people have to understand that times change. So let's give a chance to James Gunn. He tapped into Superman and Lois. If you're a big man of Superman, you should be watching Superman and Lois, watching the comic books. And even James Gunn said in an interview that he tapped into watching Superman and Lois. He binge watched that. So just knowing that he's into the culture and decided to binge watch Superman and Lois says what the audience wants. Everyone loves Superman Lois. Obviously, there's some stuff we could disagree with, some CGI stuff, maybe some plot lines that didn't make sense. But overall, it was a very good show. And the ending was very emotional, very well rounded. Obviously, we probably could have gotten another season of Superman Lois between us, but it didn't happen. But it's still very good ending. You know what I'm trying to get with here. But I'm very curious to find out how you guys feel about this. Are you guys excited for Superman from James Gunn reboot? Be honest. I'm open to debate, friendly debates. So if you're not really happy for it, just comment down below. We don't have to hate on each other. Friendly debates here. And yeah, I'm just curious to find out. We do upload daily content on this channel, so make sure to come back tomorrow. I did upload a little bit late today, but it was a very long video, and I wanted to make sure that everyone understood and get some quality out there for you guys. So yeah, just make sure to subscribe, like, turn notifications on, upload daily content, no breaks. And as always, I'm MrNova, and I'm out. Peace.